Gents, flappers, fellas, and curious souls alike, you've turned your dial to the right frequency. The hour is upon us. In the Nightline broadcast, where stories breathe, shadows whispers, and the past comes alive. If you dare to listen, tonight we're diving into tales that tingle the spine and stir the imagination. So pour yourself a glass of something strong, settle in to that armchair, and don't mind the creaks in the floorboard. It's just the past reminding you it's still there. So with the lights down low and the phonograph humming, let's step into tonight's tale. I'm your host, and I'll be your guide through the strange, the eerie, and the unbelievable. Let the broadcast begin. Now, to start off tonight's broadcast, we actually have a few murder mysteries tonight. They're pretty short. I've already skimmed through some of them, just a few of them to see how long they are. But they're mostly they're pretty short ones, not too long. But I think they're interesting. I took a glimpse at one of them. There's also some other stories I have as well. There are some some experiences from ghost hunters. They are also a little short too, so we might get through either most or all of them today. So let's just jump right in and start with the Ice Cabin, submitted by Jack T, amateur snow trekker. Now, again, these first ones are the murder mysteries, and I'll let you know when we switch over to the ghost hunting ones. Now, starting off, again, short, simple. I found the cabin by accident, hiking deep in the Colorado Rockies. A blizzard rolled in unexpectedly, and I needed shelter. The place looked abandoned. One story, boarded windows, roof sagging from snow. But the door was unlocked. Inside was a single bed, a stove, and a table. And one more thing, a dead man sitting upright in a wooden chair, frozen stiff. He looked mummified, dressed for summer, mouth open like he died screaming. I panicked and called it in with my sat phone. Rescue came 10 hours later. When they searched the place, they found something else, a journal hidden beneath the floorboard. Final entry, he made me kill him. I had to. He wasn't real anymore, not since the snow came. The handwriting in the final entries was two different styles, and the body in the chair still hasn't been ID'd. I checked the official report a week later. The cabin burned down the night after I left. No cause found. Now, with these being short, I don't have much to say on a lot of them. This is one of the ones I did skim over to kind of see what we were getting ourselves into tonight. And I have to say that murder mystery is a little iffy, especially with the whole he wasn't real anymore part. I don't exactly know what to think on that. It's just that maybe he was delirious from being cold, but he was dressed for summer, so I'd have to say probably it was just really hot during that time of year. So he must have died and froze over and been preserved for that long. Yeah. Also, it burning down the night after you left, so that sounds like sabotage of evidence. So, but it is what it is. Now, on to the next one. Midnight at the Gas Station by L.A.L., former night shift clerk. Oh, God. This actually, I have something to say on this, but I've heard some interesting stories from night clerks, especially gas stations, 24 hours, superstores, or just stores in general, grocery stores. And some of them get really weird. Most of the time, they are not very paranormal. They're more just typical weirdos at night. Anyways, let's jump right in. I used to work at this English. Come on. I used to work at this lonely gas station off Highway 29. Dead of night, barely any customers except truckers and the occasional lost tourists. One night, a woman came in around 2 a.m. panicked, clothes ripped, hands shaking. She said, "He's in the car. Don't let him see me." I locked the doors and called the cops. 5 minutes later, a man pulled up, clean-shaven, polite, said he's looking for his fiancée. who had mental problems. I didn't unlock the doors. He smiled, waved at the security camera, and left. The woman disappeared before the police arrived, vanished. No sign of her in the store. Security footage showed me talking to myself. No woman on camera. Next day, I found a wedding ring on the back shelf. Inside wasn't great. Till death do us part. Ew. I quit that week. The store burned down 2 months later in a freak electrical fire. They never found that man. Now, the one thing I have noticed about a lot of these, first and foremost, that's creepy. Because there has been, I remember this one story a while back. This is from across the seas. But actually, first, let me talk my piece on this. The burning down part, electrical fire, sounds suspicious, but it makes sense. But the whole never finding the man and him talking to himself, that's creepy. But it sounds more like a haunting than a murder mystery. But oh well. But to kind of go off on my point that I had, I guess my 2 cents of this, because this reminds me of a story from across seas where this hospital, it was a late night worker at a hospital, and they actually have footage of this, and the door's open, the front door is open of this hospital, and the front desk person ends up getting up, and it looks like he is talking to someone, and he helps him into this wheelchair and takes him to the elevator. Well, they find out later, because through footage, that he saw an old lady looking for a specific room to get her stuff, because she supposedly checked out, but she actually passed away. So that's what this story reminds me of, is hauntings. But again, that's what it kind of reminds me of. But let's jump on to the next one. From Lena R, 32, real estate photographer. I was taking interior shots of a home for sale in Vermont. Place had been vacant since the 70s. Dust, rot, but mostly intact. Mid-century everything. Creepy but elegant. Now those are my kind of houses. But of course they are quite dangerous now these days due to, again, just like they said, dust and rot. You have to do a lot of renovations with them. Anyways, when I got home and reviewed the photos, I noticed something weird. In one shot, taken of the hallway mirror, there was a girl standing behind me, pale, barefoot, in a white dress. But I was alone in the house all day. Thinking it was a trick of the light, I went back to the next morning. In the attic, I found an old newspaper clipping pinned to the wall. Local girl missing after her parents found slain in their home, 1974. The girl in the photo was her. Same dress, same face. I turned to leave, but I saw my reflection in the mirror at the bottom of the stairs. Only it wasn't just me anymore. She was standing next to me, smiling. Now, once again, that does not sound like a murder mystery. And I made sure to categorize these things, but it sounds like another haunting, but at the same time a murder mystery. Because of, I guess, the deaths of, or the parents, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say on that. There's really nothing to it, because it just sounds more haunting than anything. Anyways, this one is submitted by Unknown, and it supposedly was found in a sealed envelope at a public library. February 11th, 1988. My name is Simon Talbot. I do apologize that I am not pronouncing your name correctly. I'm a historian. Last week I was hired to catalog the private archive of Harold Denton, a deceased author and known recluse. They said he died peacefully in his sleep. That was a lie. His office was untouched. Hundreds of handwritten manuscripts, most unpublished, but one binder was sealed with red wax. Inside were notes about a book that was never released, a story involving a writer who discovered that his characters were becoming real and violent. Okay, now that's creepy. I'm intrigued. At first, I thought it was fiction until I read the last page where Harold wrote, "They're coming for me. I can hear them scratching the door. The ink they gave me, or the ink gave him life. I gave him motive. And then nothing. No signature. The police report said Harold was found with ink in his ink in his lungs, but the part they left out, the words "the end" were carved into his chest. I tried to burn the pages, and now I hear scratching at my door. That is. That's disturbing. Intriguing! Because that actually sounds like an interesting book that I'd actually probably read, is someone making a story based off, I guess, their characters come to life. That sounds very fascinating to me. Dang. I'm actually really intrigued with the idea. Anyways, on to the next set. I'm not going to do, there's no commercials tonight's broadcast since there hasn't been one for a while. Mostly just because I haven't had really need to put them through, and I need to find some new ones. Anyways, on to the ghost hunting stories. And these are by a few investigators, either old retired ones or ones that are still currently doing ghost hunting. Which again, I don't know how or why anybody would do this, but it's to your own. Not much for me to say in that. The Screaming Room, Danvers State Hospital, and this is by someone called Rick V. He's a lead investigator at Northeastern Paranormal Society. I've been doing this job for 14 years, seen cold spots, EVP hits, the usual stuff, but nothing shook me more like Room 406 in the Danvers tunnels. It was our second visit. The place is massive, but 406, nicknamed the Screaming Room, was sealed off until recent renovations unearthed a stairway leading right to it. The air changed the second we stepped in. I mean, that literally thick, standing in syrup. Okay, that is very descriptive, and I don't think if a room had that kind of air pressure, I think you would probably not be sticking around long. Sarah, our psychic, went dead still. Went dead still? That's an odd phrase right there. She said, "There's something in here." We set up the recorders, static, then suddenly screaming, not human, not animal, like something mimicking pain, like it didn't understand pain, just how to perform it. Flashlights flickered, the REM pod blew out, my camera caught a black figure in the corner, no eyes, no face. Then Sarah passed out cold. We got her outside, she came to and said, "He said my name." We called off the rest of the investigation. Sarah quit a week later, deleted all her footage, moved out of state. The rest of us reviewed the tape. On the audio, a voice garbled, repeating, "Come down, let me scream for you." Okay, that's actually pretty creepy. Honestly, that gave me goosebumps. It's been a while since I've gotten goosebumps by something like that, but that's actually pretty creepy. I can't imagine just being told to come and let me scream at you. That sounds weird on different levels, but just creepy. Anyways. Oh god. I already don't like the title of this one. This gives me some serious flashbacks to something, which I won't get into today, this broadcast, but The Doll Maker's House, submitted by Tanya L., a ghost hunter and historian. This case came in from a local museum curator, an old craftsman's house donated to the city, known locally as the Doll Maker's Place. He was famous for hand-carved dolls and infamous for disappearing without a trace in 1923. We did a walkthrough. The place was cold, windows sealed shut, no electricity. The dolls lined every shelf, every step, all blank-eyed and homemade. I was filming upstairs when I heard a small, quick footsteps behind me. I turned around. No one. Later in the nursery, we placed an EMF meter next to the largest doll. It spiked, lights danced, and then the doll's arm twitched. Greg, my tech guy, went to pick it up. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, locking us in. The room filled with a sound of humming, like a child's lullaby. We couldn't find the source. Greg started muttering. Said he felt like someone's hands were wrapping around his neck. He wasn't acting. I watched as red marks appeared around on his throat. We finally forced the door open. Back at base, I reviewed the footage. Frame by frame, second by second, in the corner of one shot right behind Greg, a pale, grinning man holding a carved knife, and he wasn't any of us. Yeah, no. I despise dolls. Dolls creep me out to no end. Especially the whole idea. I get everybody has their hobbies, everybody has their niches. But doll making, especially the creepy ones, why do you do that? Like, was it because it was a passion thing? I get everybody has their own passion. Like I said, hobbies and niches. But still, it's too creepy. That's way just out there for me. I don't understand it. I understand having hobbies and stuff like that, but doll making, and really creepy ones at that. Especially like Annabelle, for example. That doll, the real doll, is honestly creepier than the one that they showed in the films. And the stories I hear from that, and I'll probably find some and read it to y'all at a different broadcast, but not tonight. But they are wild. They are wild stories, especially some of the accidents that happens to the people that supposedly disrespect her. And just no, I don't do dolls. Dolls are just beyond creepy. Now then, next one up. Like I said, we might even finish all four. Oh no, actually, surprisingly, this is the last one. So maybe I'll have to say one of my. I'll actually be able to get to mine if I feel like talking about it. Anyways, the Choir of the Dead, submitted by Marcus N., founder of Black Lantern Investigations. Now that name I think I've heard before. I just don't know exactly where. St. Elizabeth was a church-turned-shelter, abandoned after the fire in 1979. Local legend claimed the choir was trapped in the sanctuary when it burned. People still say they hear singing at night. So, of course, we had to check it out. It was snowing when we arrived, silent, peaceful. Inside was a different story. Burned pews, collapsed rafters, and that awful smell, like ash and perfume. Oh, that's awful smell. The combination of perfume and ash is a horrid smell. I started recording near the altar. Around 11:47, our parabolic mic picked up voices, soft in Latin, and singing. Beautiful singing children's voices. We followed the sound to the basement. There we found rows of scorched robes, but no children, no people. Just then the door slammed above us. Our flashlight's beams went haywire. I swear I saw movement. Silhouettes on the walls, like small figures dancing in place. I turned to tell my team to get out and saw 6 little faces staring at me from the dark. We got out. Barely one of our crew members, Jess, was left behind for almost 5 minutes. When we found her, she was curled up in a ball whispering a hymn. None of us theme. Hymn? Either that's a typo or I'm just saying that wrong. None of us recognize it. She doesn't remember going down there. She still hums that song in her sleep. And see, right there is another one of those situations that I couldn't imagine having someone that I know hum a song that they don't know and or have gained from somewhere creepy like that. To me, that sounds like one of those like situations of as time progresses, it gets worse, and then they snap. That's a big no. But as I said, that was the last one of. Actually, that was everything for that. I don't have any other stories at the moment. I do have mine though, the one I said I wasn't planning on saying, but since we still got some time left before the people in the studio tell me that it's time to end, um, I guess I can start with is that this was when I was a little. This was when I was a little lad, but I was old enough to actually remember it, and I still remember it to this day. Um, and this was actually at a home I used to live in for quite a while. And let's just say my grandparents used to collect these dolls. This is why I was saying about the whole dollhouse thing. These used to be these dolls that would cover their face. It was a kind of cotton um, type of doll, like crocheted dolls. They're about child height. I don't know if any of y'all remember this. Probably too young to remember, or if you do remember, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Is those creepy ass dolls. And one one night, I don't remember because we never really kept them. I think we only have one from a family member, but we don't keep it in the house. But I remember one night getting up late at night to get probably a glass of water or something to snack on. I can't remember. It's been that long. But this part always reminds me of it because I don't remember it being out. I just know that we had it, but it was not out on the floor or out in the room or out anywhere. It should have. I could have sworn. Still to this day, I still believe it was in a closet. But this doll, as I turned away from the fridge, and I turned to look just away from it. In front of the window, where as soon as because you see a street lamp's light be kind of shining into the bedroom, or not bedroom, but living room. You see the silhouette of this thing, of this doll, just placed there. Now, I was not really heavy in the whole horror, paranormal stuff, and like I am now. But this doll, I never thought I felt fear at that point in time, to the point as I did. I don't remember. I just remember running back into my room, locking the door, and not. I don't think I did. I don't think I remember going back to sleep that night because I don't know if it was my imagination from that point on. It probably was because of just my levels of stress going haywire. But I could have swore I was hearing something going on the other side of that door. Like someone trying to open it, someone trying to. Like I said, I locked it, so it probably was one of my family members, but I don't remember hearing anybody coming downstairs or exiting the room. I just remember hearing something, or someone trying to either open a door or open my room. But that's my story about the whole doll thing. I don't do dolls. They freak me out too much, especially ones that just hide their face, because it reminds me of a weeping angels, which that's actually something I do want to find stories on. Hopefully there's some people that's experienced something, probably not exactly like a weeping angel, but something that probably made it feel or seem like that. But since we still have about 4 minutes left, I could probably look through the archives and see if I can find probably one last thing, maybe. I am. Give me 1 second to look through all this. Like, I have some SCP ones, but I was not expecting to save one for today. I was hoping to save the SCP stuff for an actual SCP broadcast. No, I'm not finding anything besides the SCP stuff. I'm not gonna say anything about the SCP. I think I'm gonna leave those for the next broadcast. But we only have 3 minutes. I'm looking at my crewmates, and they don't have anything to give. That's actually quite disappointing because I was not one in tonight's broadcast early, but I was not expecting to go through these stories pretty quickly. I was hoping to have a little bit more 2 cents to add to each of them. There's not a lot to add to short stories half the time, especially with very little detail. Just that some of them have made me question if they were actually murder mysteries and not just hauntings that someone got a little sidetracked with or kind of got a little mixed up with. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got for tonight. Though I made it past. I only got us for 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm checking real quick just in case. But it seems like that's it. Besides the SCPs, which will be for next. Well, not actually. No, I have one thing to say actually before closing tonight's broadcast, and this is actually something my the other crew members are telling me, or I guess studio members, whatever you want to call them, my assistants. They are reminding me that next week we will actually not be broadcasting anything. I will be going on vacation for a while, and so only for a week. So don't get your feathers in a bunch. I'll return the following week. So we will return strong, much more stories ready, and of course that's going to be our SCP broadcast as well. Anyways. The clock strikes its final note for tonight's tale, spinning soiree. I do declare it's been a real humdinger of an evening. Oh god. I'm gonna have to talk to him about these. It's so weird. Anyways, to all you fine dames and dappers who turned in tonight, I tip my fedora and say thank y'all kindly. And remember, whether in fact it's fact or fancy, the world's got more secrets than a speakeasy at back room. So until next time, keep your lamps lit, your ears sharp, and your heart brave. This is your old pal signing off, and may your dreams be free of the things we dare not speak by daylight. Good night now, and watch those shadows.